Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Michael Rosenbaum, the best live-action Lex Luthor, has James Gunn on his podcast, and we're going to be talking about the differences between Marvel and DC, between the MCU and James Gunn's upcoming DCU. I started recording this. I got a good chunk in, and I realized I wasn't even recording. But James Gunn is the best person, is the only person to talk about this. He's helming the DCU along with Peter Safran, and he is a big part of the MCU. So he's really pretty much like the only person who can really speak on this. So let's check this out.
Anyway, we'll continue on. This is one of my last questions. You've worked on Marvel and DC films. How do the two universes differ in terms of tone, style, and approach to storytelling? And what are some of the challenges and opportunities that come with working in each?
I don't think that there's any, I don't think you can, because relatively, the MCU and now the DCU in film, which really doesn't start. I mean, the first DCU character for sure is Blue Beetle. And the first.
Okay, see, this is okay. Well, first off, tone-wise, I feel like DC and Marvel are very different, right? I don't know why DC got the whole. Well, I know why, because of Zack Snyder. That DC got this whole thing of being, they're the dark, more gritty, more realistic take. When Marvel is more realistic, DC is supposed to be more fantastical, But what was I about to say? Yeah, so the tones of the MCU and the DCU should be different, and not only because the very nature of the characters are different, but because I personally don't even really like the MCU tone. That's why I checked out of the MCU years ago, because it's just formulaic, right? Every movie is the same thing over and over again. It got to that point where I just got really tired of the formula. And you can't even go based off the trailers. Like, I remember when the Doctor Strange trailer came out, and I was like, whoa, all right, this is something different. This is giving me like some Inception type vibes. Go into the movie, it's back to MCU, That's why I feel like I wish it just all ended at Infinity War. At least that changed things up a bit. The villain won in the end, and just ended there. But we went on to Endgame, and I personally didn't like Endgame, and they're continuing on, milking it out. Like, people like a conclusion, and the vast majority, even if I didn't like Endgame, the vast majority of people liked Endgame, and they like a conclusion. But we're continuing on, and people are not really caring anymore. But I went off on a tangent. Let's continue here. Wait, Blue Beetle. He said Blue Beetle is the first DCU character. I did not know that. So, the first movie of the DCU is Superman Legacy, but the first character of the DCU is Blue Beetle. So, Blue Beetle, that trailer looked awesome. Miguel from Cobra Kai is playing Blue Beetle, and that looks awesome. I love him in Cobra Kai, so that's awesome. The end bit with the sword thing that he did, that was freaking awesome. So I'm looking forward to that movie. That movie, in my opinion, has the potential to be, since it looks like it's not going to be part of the DCU, since Superman Legacy is the first movie of the DCU. So that movie, the Blue Beetle, has the potential to be the best DCEU movie, in my opinion. My number one DCEU movie so far is Shazam. I thought that was the best of the bunch so far. And Blue Beetle has a potential to top that.
The MCU and now the DCU in film, which really doesn't start. I mean, the first DCU character for sure is Blue Beetle, and the first full DCU movie is Superman.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Now that that's happening, it's relatively.
So Blue Beetle, Zolo. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Miguel from Cobra Kai's Blue Beetle is officially part of the DCU. Not necessarily that movie, but the character.
New. The same thing with Marvel. I mean, even MCU is relatively new. So I don't know if there's any innate things about tone, because I think that what both MCU and DCU need to do is to have a wider range of tones than they presently do.
MCU doesn't. Like I said, formulaic. It's the same tone every single movie. Same cringy jokes. You know what I mean?
I think they work to do that, but I think they can do a better job of it.
Yep.
The biggest, but
But the good thing with what James Gunn said there is good, because I don't want Superman to have the same tone as Batman, even though they're in the same universe. Two very different characters, two very different approaches, you know? And I want to see those two very different characters clash when they come together. I don't want Batman to be I don't want, like, let's say the Batman-Superman movie team up is a lighthearted movie. Batman can still be dark and serious in a lighthearted movie. His character doesn't need to change. But his environment, like the things that are happening around him could change, but you don't change the characters, you know what I mean? To change the overall tone of the project. Characters are the characters, that's it.
But if you look at the MCU, there are very few superheroes. There are very few traditional superheroes. There was never a guy with a secret identity until Spider-Man in the MCU. Their Cap was turned into a soldier, even though he wears a mask.
And that's all there was in DC.
Iron Man outed himself at the end of the first Iron Man because they don't want to deal with the secret identity stuff. So there is a bit more of a fantasy element to DCU.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there are these larger than life superheroes.
Exactly.
Take that. You're not going to make, people are going to do whatever they're going to do in the future. But for me, there's Superman and Clark Kent. Like, they're two different characters, and you have to find a way to deal with them that's as grounded as possible within this world of DC. One of the things I love about DC and excites
that worries me, grounded as possible. What does he mean by that?
Me about DC is that
it seems like he has the right perspective from what I'm seeing, from what I'm hearing.
That in a way, it is it's another alternate history. It is Gotham,
but I'm not 100%. Like, I don't have complete faith. You know what I mean? But he seems to get it.
Gotham City and Metropolis and Star City and Bloodhaven and all these different places in this
like
other
the world building.
reality.
It's not like, hey, you have this guy, he's a hero in New York City. You have completely different cities, so you got some world building to do,
and it makes it a little bit like Westeros in some ways. I love.
I wouldn't go that far.
I love that.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Create true world building in DC. It isn't just we're throwing some superheroes on Earth.
Yeah. I like that.
So I think that right now, that's one of the key differences.
What's your favorite Marvel movie besides Guardians?
MCU or Marvel?
Both.
My favorite MCU movie is Iron Man.
That is huge. Because Iron Man was before, I believe it was before Disney acquired Marvel. And you can clearly see the tonal difference from Iron Man 1. And then after Disney took over, you can see the difference. Listen to the soundtrack, the way Tony Stark acts, everything, right? It's very different. So I'm really happy he said that, because he recognizes the quality when it's there. He doesn't like that MCU formulaicness. But then again, his last Guardians movie, Guardians 3, spoiler alert, but not really minor spoiler alert. The only thing holding that movie together was Rocket's backstory. Everything else reminded me of Spy Kids, the Thum Thums and the Floop, whatever those things were called. And Floop's Palace, you know what I mean? All those, whatever those, you know what I mean? It reminded me of that, like silly, for no reason. Literally, Rocket Raccoon's backstory was awesome. His friends, all that stuff. That was the glue that held the movie together. Everything else I didn't really care about.
The original.
Yes.
Love it.
I think it's an incredibly great movie. But my favorite
Iron Man
Marvel
1 is really
movie
good.
Probably Deadpool, which
Really?
That's 100% expected coming from James Gunn. Deadpool, of course.
Well, actually, no. My favorite Marvel movie is Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
Love that movie.
we talked about this. We did a video on James Gunn's favorite comic book movies. Into the Spider-Verse was his favorite. That's a solid movie. I watched it again recently.
Yeah, everybody loves that movie.
It's great.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. You haven't seen Into the
I
Spider-Verse?
know. I'm going to see it.
Oh, dude, it's the best superhero movie ever made.
Really?
I think so.
You love it that much?
I do love it.
DC, favorite movie of all time. DC movie.
First Superman. I mean, it's
Look behind you. Signed by Gene
cool.
Hackman.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. You did a better job.
I love
Yo,
Gene.
see, we talked about this in the previous video. Lex Luthor, best Lex Luthor, and I'm so happy James Gunn recognizes it.
But he played. I loved. Anyway, I'm not gonna
taking the wig off at the end.
But I mean, looks like James Gunn you're gonna call me crazy. I haven't seen this movie. I have not seen Superman 1. That's why I said I could do some movie reactions on this channel because there's a lot of good classic movies I've not seen. But from what I hear, this is a faithful take on the Superman character, and I believe it because a lot of these older movies, they're more faithful in their adaptations. And James Gunn liked it. That's his favorite DC movie. And that's important because he is writing and directing Superman Legacy. So hopefully we're going to see Superman brought back to his true self in that movie.
I had to hear you bitch about your bald head for years.
Only because they wanted to shave it twice a day. I was getting nicked. I was bleeding.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't lay down because it would get made.
That was his one condition, right? When he came back for the final season. He just was not want to shave his head, so they gave him a bald cap.
Up on there. I was a whiny
the
bitch.
audience.
I should have cried with Pratt on that video.
You complained a lot about your bald head.
All right. Well, is Peacemaker really coming back, or is there just no time for it?
No, Peacemaker's coming back right after Superman. That's my next thing.
So then you'll just
Go
lock
straight
in.
into Superman. Yeah.
That's one thing I'm like. So it's not a clean cut reboot, right? We were looking at a Hollywood Reporter article. Who knows how accurate it is, right? It didn't come straight from. I don't think it came straight from the mouth of James Gunn. I think it might have come from Peter Safran, if I remember correctly. I'll put the video up. But it looks like the Paradise Lost show is going to take place within between Wonder Woman 1 and Wonder Woman 2. It's related to Wonder Woman 2, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. So that means it's not a complete reboot. We have Peacemaker, not a complete reboot. We have Viola Davis is Amanda Waller, so it's not a complete reboot. So we're picking and choosing here what we're keeping, what we're not keeping. So that worries me. And that also puts a whole lot of pressure on James Gunn. So hopefully he knows what he's doing. He's got to know what he's doing.
I mean, go straight from Superman to Peacemaker.
Suicide Squad 2?
But Waller's first, and Waller's a lot of the same people from Peacemaker. So, I mean, this is all, yeah.
Okay, so James Gunn is going straight from Superman to Peacemaker, but Waller is coming first before Peacemaker, right after Legacy.
But yeah.
Suicide Squad 2?
Is there? No.
You don't have any plans for doing that?
All right, that's going to be it for this video. What did you guys think about James Gunn? What he said about the difference between the MCU and the DCU? I thought that was important. There is a difference, and hopefully he understands the DCU tonally. I mean, it's his DCU, but I mean like the overall DC universe tonally. He understands the characters. The fact that this is his favorite Superman movie gives me hope. The fact that he understands that that Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is the best live-action Lex Luthor gives me hope. So hopefully James Gunn knows what he's doing, and we're moving in the right direction. But I want you guys to let me know, what do you think about the upcoming DCU? Do you think James Gunn and Peter Safran are the right guys for the job? And what direction do you think they're going to be going in? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.